Pink and Maine. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be talking about our Magic Anti-Static Brush. When you purchase our Magic Anti-Static Brush, it comes in this gorgeous holographic packaging. We do sell the refill powder separately, but you also get a full refill bag of the powder inside the brush packaging. As we pull this out, you can see that the brush comes in two parts. We've got our powder in the bag, as well as some instructions for using the brush. The brush is super easy to fill with the powder and is also super simple to use. I've got a piece of scratch paper underneath when I'm going to fill the bottom of the brush just in case. I'm going to carefully open the zippered bag here, which is reclosable. If you have a funnel or a small spoon, that could also be helpful, but I just kind of dump some of the powder into the bottom portion of the brush. You want to fill this bottom portion of the brush about 3/4 of the way full. I did spill a little, so I'm just going to dump this back into the bag. You'll then notice that your bag of powder still has quite a bit left in it. This bag of powder that comes with the brush, along with the refill, will fill the brush 2 to 3 times, possibly more, just depending on how much you fill the brush each time. You're just gonna zip that back up closed and store it in a cool, dry place. I'm going to remove the clear cap of the brush because I want to show you the mechanism here that protects the bristles, and it slides down when you're ready to use it. And if you notice, it pushes this part, this little plastic part down here, down into the powder. So that can help to kind of mix the powder and keep it from clumping. And when you're going to store the brush, you just pull the protector back up over the bristles and put the clear cap back on. To assemble the brush, once we've added the powder in the bottom, it simply screws on to the top of the brush. Now our Magic Anti-Static Brush is ready to use. And you may be asking yourself, in what applications would you use Magic Anti-Static Brush? The brush is perfect to use anytime you're using something that is small particles in your creations. So think about when you're using glitter or flock or embossing powders. All those tiny particles have a tendency sometimes to stick, static, cling on your paper because the paper has moisture or oils from our fingers or from the environment. I've put down a piece of scrap paper to collect my excess particles and powders, and I'm first going to demonstrate how to use the brush when we're working with glitters and flocks. So we have a line of superfine glitters as well as flocks and sparkling flocks that have glitter in them. Here I have a piece of white cardstock where I've added 3 strips of our 1/2 inch Easy Tear double-sided tape. We're going to add glitter and flock to the tapes. But once we have our tape down, now we want to use our anti-static brush to remove any oils and moisture and static cling. And I'm just going to brush gently over my paper and the tapes. It'll be very difficult to see the powder on the white cardstock, but it is there and it's taking away some of that moisture. You can see a light area in the center of the brush where the powder comes out. When I'm done, I'm going to pull up that brush protector and replace the cap and set the brush aside. Now let's remove one of the release papers from the tape. And now I have a sticky surface that I'm going to add some flock to. Let's use the flock first. I'm going to generously dump the flock onto the tape. You want good coverage. And you're going to press it down into the tape. And then I'm going to tap off the excess. After I tap off the excess, you can see I have very minimal stray flocking fibers on my paper. And now I have that fuzzy feel with the flock. How fun. Now let's add some sparkling flock with glitter. I'm going to go ahead and use our Magic Anti-Static Brush again. Just pull down that brush protector and gently brush over the paper. Tap off the excess, and again, I have very minimal stray flocking fibers and glitter anywhere. Now let's add some glitter. You want to make sure you use your anti-static brush before you remove the release paper for the tape. If you were to brush the powder over the tape here, you would reduce the stickiness because the powder is going to stick to the adhesive. As you can see, after I've tapped that off, very, very minimal stray glitter. How cool is that? Now I'm just going to burnish or press this glitter into the tape. That will spread some strays around, but it also gives you maximum adhesion to the tape. Tap it again. And there we go. And now you can see we have a beautiful, sparkly, and fuzzy piece without a lot of stray fibers and glitters. Our Magic Anti-Static Brush is also very helpful when you are heat embossing and using embossing powders. I have a white piece of cardstock here, and before I stamp my image using our embossing and watermark ink, I'm going to remove the cap to the anti-static brush and lower the bristle protector and gently sweep it across or brush it on my paper where I'm going to be doing the stamping. The powder inside the brush is a very natural powder and it's sourced in the USA. Once we've brushed on the powder, you just slide up that bristle protector, replace the cap, and set the brush aside. I've inked up a butterfly stamp from our Butterfly Sketches stamp set. And I'm going to use our Blueberry Fizz embossing powder, which is a beautiful bright blue. I'm just going to cover the image and then put the excess back in the jar. A light little tap and you'll see there's no excess powder around my image. Now we're ready to heat emboss. When I heat emboss, I like to start in one corner or one side and gently move the heat gun across the stamped image as I see the powder melting. You don't want to hold it too long to where it burns, but as you see that powder get glossy and melt, you just gently move the heat to other area of the stamped image. And here is our beautiful embossed butterfly. Now we're going to emboss on a black piece of cardstock. We're going to use our frosting embossing powder, which is our white embossing powder. We're going to use our Magic Anti-Static brush again. But this time you'll see the powder coming out on the black cardstock a little bit more. Pull up that bristle protector, replace the cap, and set it aside. So you can see some small powder particles on the cardstock, but that's okay. They're going to wipe away easy after we do our embossing. You notice that after I've put the powder to the cardstock, I don't touch this cardstock again. You don't want to add any more oils from your fingers, so you want to have it ready to emboss once you add your powder. I'm using the same butterfly image. A light tap back into the jar. And here is our stamped image. So after I've tapped the excess, you can see there are not stray embossing powders on the cardstock. Now let's heat emboss. Now we have our beautiful white butterfly image embossed on black. I can still see fine halo of powder, and these few little pieces of the white embossing powder were blown when I started to heat emboss. If you don't want any little particles like that when you're embossing, you can always use your heat gun from the back of the paper as a little tip, just to keep any from blowing off the top of the image, which that can happen. Once my embossed image is cooled down, I'm going to take our Scrub It Clean microfiber cloth and just brush it gently over the cardstock. And as you can see, it removes all of the powder residue that was left. Super simple and easy. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this overview of the Pink & Main Magic Anti-Static Brush. As you've seen, this tool is very helpful when you're using glitters, flocks, and embossing powders in your crafty creations. And until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.